Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into something that shapes pretty much every moment of our work lives: organizational communication. It's how stuff gets done, how ideas catch on, and really how the culture of a place is even built. And, in the wild, complex world we live in now, getting this right has never been more important.
So, to help us on this journey, we're going to be looking at Catherine Miller's incredible book, Organizational Communication. We're going to unpack some of its most powerful ideas to see how our whole understanding of communication at work has evolved and what that actually means for you and me today. I love this quote. It just nails the shift we've all felt, right? We've gone from the beautiful simplicity of one choice, the classic Model T, to the, let's be honest, sometimes overwhelming complexity of a modern Starbucks menu. This isn't just about coffee or cars, though. It reflects a massive change in our entire world.
So yeah, that staggering complexity, that's pretty much our new normal. And it makes you ask a really tough question. Are the ways we talk to each other and get organized, are they built for that simple world of the past or for the messy reality we're in today? The book points to four huge trends that are really cranking up this complexity. First, you've got globalisation, connecting teams and markets in the blink of an eye. Then there are these huge global challenges like climate change that need all of us to work together. And inside our own companies, shifting demographics are completely changing what our workforce even looks like. And here's the thing. These aren't just big, abstract headlines. They create real, complicated problems that show up right at our workplaces. And to solve those kinds of problems, we need some seriously sophisticated communication tools. So the big question is, are the tools we're using actually up to the job? To answer that, let's take a look back at the old, kind of simple ways we used to think about all this stuff, about communication and organizations, and see exactly why they just don't cut it anymore. For a long, long time, the way we thought about communication was super simple, basically like a pipeline. You can picture it, right? A supervisor, that's the source, sends an email, that's the channel, with the task, the message to their team, the receivers. It's just a one-way street, all about getting information from point A to point B. And what about the organizations themselves? Well, a lot of early theories saw them as these big, clunky machines. And people? We were just seen as cogs in that machine, totally replaceable, designed to do one specific thing as efficiently as possible. It was all about predictability, standardization, and control. And look, that machine thinking, it's awesome for simple, repetitive stuff, but it absolutely falls apart when you throw a messy, unpredictable, modern problem at it. You can't just send a memo to fix a global supply chain crisis, can you? It just doesn't work. Okay, this is where we get to the real aha moment of this whole thing. It's a core principle that gives us a way forward, one that deals directly with why those old, simple models just fail us. This guy, this scholar Carl Wake, he gave us this really powerful idea to help us navigate all this. It sounds simple, right? The organization must be as complicated as the problem. But when you really think about it, the implications are huge. Your company's internal setup has to match the complexity of the world outside. The fancy term for it is requisite variety, but all it really means is this: the variety of tools and responses you have on the inside of your organization, your structure, your teams, the way you communicate. It has to be at least as diverse as the challenges you're facing on the outside. I mean, think about it like this. A small, local catering service, they can probably get by with informal chats and a really simple structure, right? But a massive global food corporation? No way. They need a way more sophisticated system to handle logistics, legal stuff, different markets, you name it. The lesson here is pretty clear. A complicated world requires a more complicated way of communicating. So, if the old models are broken, what's this new, more powerful tool we need? Well, it's about looking at communication in a completely different way, something that takes us way beyond that simple A to B pipeline. And that brings us to the constitutive model. And honestly, this just flips the whole thing on its head. In this view, communication isn't just a pipeline for moving information around. It's the very process that creates our shared reality at work. It's not a tool we use in the organization. It's the engine that actually builds the organization from the ground up. Now, this is where it gets really interesting when you put them side by side. The old transmission view sees an organization as this kind of pre-existing container, and communication just happens inside of it. But the constitutive view, it makes this radical claim that communication isn't in the container. Communication is the container. It's the very force that builds the whole thing. All right, so this new way of thinking leads us to our final and maybe most important takeaway. It's a fundamental shift in how we see things that really changes our whole role at work. So, we're talking about a huge mental shift here. We stop thinking about an organization as a noun, a static box on an org chart, a thing that just is. Instead, we start thinking about organizing as a verb. It's not a thing that exists. It's a dynamic, ongoing process. It's something we are all doing together all the time. What this really means is that all that stuff we do every day, the little conversations, the meetings, the emails, the Slack messages, none of it is just background noise. They're the actual building blocks of our workplace. Every single time we communicate, we are actively taking part in the active organizing. And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about. If our communication is literally what builds the world we work in, then what kind of world are we building with our words today?